Hi and welcome. My name is Erica and you are at the Lopsided Crafter Loom Knitting channel. This week's video is going to be a little bit different. If you saw my video a couple days ago, you know that we are in our RV. So this video is going to be more of a vlog type video. You're going to see a little bit of the behind the scenes action while I'm knitting on socks, creating new patterns, and diving deep into a very special, secretive project that you may get a little bit of a glimpse on. So this video will probably span a few days and I hope you enjoy it. Please let me know in the comments below if you like this type of video. As I've said in the past, there are not a lot of interactive loom knitting channels on YouTube. It's mainly just tutorials, how to do this, how to do that. Trying to expand the horizon a little bit here and draw more loom knitters into our community by doing different types of videos that you would normally see in crochet or needle knitting, such as this is what I've been working on, and now this week the vlog. So as I said, you'll see a little bit of the behind the scenes as I'm working on Socktober this month and a little bit of other things. I'll show you around the RV. I've got some socks that I need to block. I'll show you how I do that. And yeah, so here we go. Living in our project bag here by Bethany of the Wandering Pearl, I have my current sock project. This is Malabrigo yarn, and the name of the yarn is Remy, and it is from Charlotte Yarn, based on it's a colorway just for her shop. So we are currently on round 41 of the sock. Let's get going and see how many rounds we can get today. I am going to be watching Netflix. I am watching a new show. It's called Billionaires something. Basically, it's about these billionaires that were kind of like swindled, kidnapped almost, if you will, to think that the world was coming to an end, and they paid for this to be part of this underground bunker where they would be safe from World War III. It is actually pretty interesting. I think I'm on episode 3 or 4 maybe. I don't know. It's pretty good. Let's see how far we can get on our sock before the husband gets here from work, which will be in a few hours. So yeah, it's called Billionaires Bunker. So we don't have any internet service here at our RV, and the cell signal is sketch at best. Although where we have the RV parked, we do pick up a slight signal. So instead of paying for internet service here, I have actually connected my iPad to the TV via a converter and HDMI cable. So I'm still able to watch Netflix and everything that I would if I was at home. So that is a plus, my friends. That is a plus. So while I am watching this, because of copyright issues and things, this part of the video will probably have some type of music. But if I need to talk, then I will, I'll stop. But that's how vlogs work, right? So here we go. Time for a short break. Got to go out and feed the animals. Part of living off grid, well, sort of off grid, but part of living in our second home, if you will. All of our farm animals are here. We have got pickens. We've got chickens. We've got pigs. We've got a cow. We've got some dogs. We've got a turkey. I might be able to include a little bit of footage in here. Let's see if they will get close enough for me to show you them as well. We got new babies to add to the farm. We got Mr. and Mrs. Turkey. When working on a new design, I usually do one at a time. When I work on an established pattern, I will work them in tandem. I will work the toe on one and then the toe on the other, go back to the original and do the foot, and vice versa, all the way until the sock is done. I do it that way because usually when working on a new design, when I am converting one of my needle knit patterns to the loom, sometimes the stitches don't work out the same, or they don't look right on the loom. For example, I don't like holes in my socks, and I know a lot of people don't as well. So I find that with this very fine sock yarn that knit front and back and make one right and left, usually tend to leave a little hole where the lifted increase sometimes doesn't. Now, that changes again with the the width of the yarn, or the weight of the yarn, whether you're using fingering, sport, DK, that kind of thing. So with this particular sock, I am converting a heel to this sock, and I'm going to be trying some different increases. So that is why I only use one loom at a time when I am working the design, because usually you'll get to a point where, you know what, I don't like this, so I got to rip it out. Let's continue on our sock. So typically when you knit a sock toe up and you're knitting on a loom like this, you want to knit the sock until it matches until it meets your ankle bone. Then you know that it's time to start the heel. If you do not have a loom that allows you to try it on, if you take a piece of cardboard and stand flat on that cardboard and trace your foot while you're standing. So you probably need somebody to help you with this. Mark on the foot exactly where your ankle bone is. So say this is your ankle bone, then you would put a mark directly on the foot there, and then draw a line across your foot. So that'll help you know exactly when to start the heel. You can slide that cutout right into your sock, and when the tip of your loom matches that line, you know it's time to start your heel. For this particular sock that I'm working on, it is a different type of heel. So instead of going even with the ankle bone, what I'm going to do is match when the top of the sock meets the top of the leg. So where the ankle and the leg meet for this particular heel. And this is going to be something that I'm trying to convert. So let's just see if it works before I tell you what type of heel it is. So when you're knitting socks and you don't have a trace of the foot, that's when a sock ruler comes in handy. Now remember that socks need to have negative ease. So when you measure your sock to determine the length, or when it's time to put your heel in, you don't want to stretch the sock, because you kind of want it to fit, show the natural fit, but you do want to put the ruler down to the tip of the toe if you are doing a toe up sock. And then you kind of want to just push the loom up a little bit. Don't, stretch it out of whack, but put it up just a little bit. And when you turn the sock over and you're looking at the ruler, you want to measure to the tip of your stitches, not the tip of your loom. And that will tell you exactly how many inches that you have knitted so far, to tell you whether it's time to start your heel, or if you're doing a cuff down, when to start your toe. You would do it the opposite. You would just put the tip of the ruler inside of the heel. And that is how you use a sock ruler. Day 2. And I've got one more increase to do. And then I will see if this sock works the way I want it to. It is rather large at the moment. One thing to note, that when you are doing things on the loom, is your stitches will look awfully stretched, especially your increases here. Don't hold it against it until you actually get down a little further and can stretch your sock out to see if those increases close the way you want to. There may be slight holes, and I'm just gonna see if I'm okay with that once it's done. as I said, this is a true interpretation of a different knitted heel. Instead of trying to do short rows and, well, you're doing short rows for this heel, but what I mean is instead of increasing short rows, we're actually creating the increases here on the side like you would in this particular heel, instead of trying to do a different interpretation without adding pegs or, for stitches. I'm going to continue to work on this and see what it turns out like. As I said at the beginning of this vlog, I very well may take it back out, and you know, that's how you learn. It kind of looks like a little mouth, little smiley face. But yeah, so if this heel does work the way I want it to, then it will be another part of my secret project, which I probably will tell you later on in the week for this vlog. Wow, the increases are done. For this particular heel, you increase 2 stitches less than the total circumference that you started with. So since I started with 60 stitches, I still have the 30 original pegs here across the instep of the sock, but I have increased up to 58 stitches here for the back. Because you're, with this particular heel that I'm working on, you're making a gusset at the same time. This heel works great for people that have a high arch or a very high instep. If you tend to wear knitted socks and they bunch up on the top of the foot, this particular heel is perfect for that. Let's see if it works before I tell you what heel it actually is. But now it's time to do the decreases. Whether this heel works or not, I'm still going to include it in the video, because I want you guys to see that, you know, it takes time to do a sock. So don't feel intimidated if it takes you a month to do a pair of socks, 2 months, 6 months, it doesn't matter. And you may have to rip it out. You may not like the way it turns out. And that's why I'm filming this whole part on how I do this, how I decide if something's actually going to work, because they don't always work the first time. Or you may not like it. It may not be the right yarn. It just might not be speaking to you. You know what I mean? But now it's time to do the decreases to get that actual heel turn shape. And so what I thought has come to life. Because this is a little bit of a thinner yarn, these increases, which are the lifted right and left increases on this particular sock, just is not working, in my opinion. I do not like the holes that it is creating. And that all part of working the things out. As I said, I do like how the heel formed, but I do not like working this heel this particular way. So, as I said, I am going to be taking this sock out. Well, it is what it is. So I think at this point, instead of continuing with this particular heel, I am going to work on another heel that I have in mind. Just not liking the way this turned out. So I'm going to play around with it because, okay, so basically it was the Flegel heel. And I wanted it to look as close as possible to a traditional needle knit Flegel heel, where you have your increases here on the side, almost like your gusset. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm talking about there. And I just don't like this increase with this. Now, I've done this increase on a sock before. but it didn't leave this type of a hole. So I'm wondering, maybe this fingering weight yarn is a little thinner. It could be that. It could be multiple things. It could be the fact that, oh no, it wouldn't be that, because I was going to say it could be the fact that last time the stitches were together, but they increased out and it didn't leave this. I tried the sock on through the loom and it stretches out just too much. See how it, let me find right there. You see how it just leaves those holes right there? I don't know, you can't really see it in the video, but I promise it's there. And I just don't care for it. This one will be taken back out. I do have some other yarn here with me that I guess I could play around with, or maybe I could just continue it and make it into a shorty and just see what it looks like. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, because even pulling the stitches down tight, it still leaves those holes. And I just don't really like holes like so. So I'm going to have to come up with a different way to do the fleagle heel. So I did decide to rip it out, or at least take it off the loom. And then once I started rolling it up, I decided, you know what, let's save it. So I slowly went around the loom and put each stitch onto a stitch holder here, a stitch marker. And now I'm going to put it back on the loom. By doing it this way, I can no longer use, look, my hair's sticking out. I can no longer use the row counter unless I want to count the rounds, which I don't want to do. So I am going to be using a ruler again for this sock, and now I just got to decide which heel I want to try this time. But nonetheless, today we are going to be working on that sock a little bit more. I've got to go into town to get some allergy medicine because my allergies are kicking. My sinuses are like, rah. And I got a slight headache today. So I'm back from town. It takes about 35 minutes one way, so about an hour, a little over an hour trip to and fro, and not including what you got to do in town. But having said that, that gives me a little bit of time to, you know, when you're driving and you're kind of lost in your thoughts. I usually listen to an audiobook while I'm driving, and sometimes my brain just goes in different directions. So that gives me some time to think about what I want to do next as far as a heel. So I think I'm going to get started on that. I'm heating up some lunch in the air fryer, and then maybe we'll work on another heel, or maybe it's time. I'm writing a book. Yes, I am writing a book about sock loom knitting. Let me close the shade a little bit. There's a little bit of a glare there. There we go. So yes, I am writing a book about loom knitting socks, different types of heels and toes, and then your base pattern. There's probably going to be some color work patterns in there and things like that. So my question to you is this: would you rather, and please comment below so that I know, would you rather have a digital pattern, like the whole book digital format, or would you rather have it printed so that you can have a physical copy of it as well? I'm thinking about doing the binding as a spiral bound book, and give me your thoughts on that as well. I know that when I'm using a pattern book, I don't like to, and it just could be me, I don't like to put bends in the spine of the book. I don't like to put the creases there. So I was thinking if it was a spiral type bound book, that you could actually go to the page that you want. So that's one option I'm thinking about. And then the other option, obviously, is just a regular bound book. That's kind of where I'm at right now with this. The air fryer's done. So yeah, tell me also below, what kinds of things do you look for in a book? What would make this book special that you would want to have it, other than, you know, obviously your base patterns and things like that. The goal with the book is to show you that you can put any type of heel and toe into a sock. And then what types of toes, not necessarily toes, but more so heels. What type of heels works better with certain patterns? Like, for example, the Flegel heel, which you've seen me try to work out here on this this vlog. I'm gonna have to go back and to the drawing board on that and see if I can do it in a different way. Like I said, that doesn't create the holes. I don't like the holes. But having said that, the Flegel heel, for example, is a heel that you would only want to use toe up. It doesn't work as well cuff down. And then there's the heel flap and gusset, which actually works better cuff down. You can do it toe up, but there's a lot of different moving parts in the opposite direction that not a lot of people like to do. So the goal, like I said, is to get these patterns into the book, and I'm excited about it. I really am. This has been something that I've been wanting to do for a very, very long time. I was hesitant about sharing because it is going to be a long process and it is going to take a little bit of time. But I was also thinking that you guys might actually like to see the behind the scenes process of what it actually takes to write a book, and it takes some time. So I am going to go eat my lunch, and then we are going to be back to the drawing board on the sock. I did put it back on the loom. This is a project bag that I got from Bethany of the Wandering Pearl. I love it because I'm an 80s teen, okay? So anything retro on top of my cryptid stuff, I love. So I did put the sock back on the loom last night. So now I just have to take off all of these stitch markers. So this time, I went ahead and ripped it out anyway. And I decided I'm going to do a modified toe cast on. Once everything is said and done, there will be a video on how to do this. May or may not wait to go along with the book. The book is going to be interactive, which means that any new technique or anything like that, there will also be an accompanying video to go with it. But this is the modified cast on, so you use a little bit of a cord or something like that. You want something thicker than the actual yarn that you're using. And when you wrap the yarn around the cord or whatever you're using, these loops become the stitches that go across to the other side of the loom. And so we are going to end this vlog here, and we will pick up again next week, and I will show you a little bit more behind the scenes. I'm here back at the house to edit the video and put it back up, but I'm heading back to the land as soon as this is done. And we will continue our vlog. I'm really enjoying doing this series like this, and I hope you guys do too. It's a little less, well, it's a little more informal, and I'm really enjoying doing them in this format. Hopefully you guys will also enjoy it as well. So until next week, when we continue our vlog, happy loom knitting, stay cozy, and may all your socks find their matches. Bye.